Hello and welcome to Daily Current Affairs by Neo IAS. Today is 18th June 2019 and the topic we are going to discuss is United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, that is UNCCD, United Nations Development of Economic and Social Affairs, that is UNDISA, then International Fund for Agricultural Development, that is IFAD, then we have World Food India, then Map-Aided Program and the previous year question revision series. Coming to the first topic, that is United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification or UNCCD. So this is in news because India is for the first time hosting the COP of UNCCD. That will be the 14th session or COP 14 of the UNCCD that will happen in this September. So at previous edition of COP, India had committed to restore around 13 million hectares of degraded and forest land. Okay, this will be done by year 2020 and an additional 8 million hectares will be done by 2030. So, India will take over the COP presidency from China for 2 years until the next COP. Next COP will be in 2021. So, in 1994, the United Nations General Assembly or UNGA, they declared June 17 as the World Day to Combat Desertification and Drought. So, this is in order to promote or make an awareness about the implementation of UNCCD in desertification affected countries. So, the theme is let's grow the future together. Okay. So, Union Minister, he launched a flagship program for this particular thing that is for capacity enhancing on forest landscape restoration, that is FLR. Forest landscape restoration and also the bond challenge in India. So, I will discuss what bond challenge is by the end of this session. Okay. So, UNCCD is basically a legally binding international agreement. So, this is regarding the environment and development in order to attain sustainable land management. So, the convention, this is the only convention that comes under direct recommendation of Rio Summit or the Rio Conference Agenda 21. So, you already know what Rio Conference is. It happened in 1992 in Rio, you know that. Then 3 landmark agreement was signed, UNCBD, UNCCD and UNFCCC. And they adopted Agenda 21, which is basically the plan for 21st century in order to attain a sustainable living. Okay. So, UNCCD was adopted in Paris in 1994 after 2 years of signing this agreement. So, and this came into force in 1996. So, the convention is based on the principle of participation, partnership and decentralization. So, this is like the backbone of the good governance and sustainable development. Okay. So, right now it has 197 parties. That makes it universal because you know what? All other agreements like even UNFCCC or any other agreement, if you take this much participation won't be seen anywhere. So, even Kyoto has 194 parties only. So, this is like universal participation. So, in order to help publicize the concept or the convention, 2006 was declared as the International Year of Desert and Desertification. Okay, so the convention, it basically addresses the arid, semi-arid, dry, subhumid areas because these areas are called as dry lands. Okay, these areas are more vulnerable, this ecosystem is more vulnerable and it has a major threat of, expansion of these areas, into the grassland area or much flourished area. So, this should be protected. That is addressed under the convention. And UNCCD is particularly committed to this bottom-up approach. Basically, developing an area, then larger area, then a much more larger area, that way. So, this will also combat desertification and land degradation. So, UNCCD Secretariat, they facilitate this cooperation between the developed and developing countries, particularly around the knowledge thing, technology transfer. Okay, so there is a strategy framework in 2018-20. 2018-2030. So, this is this is like a global commitment in order to achieve this land degradation neutrality. So, this is like no more land is being degraded, that is land neutrality. So, this is like whatever land is degraded, it is restored also. So, that more degradation is compensated. So, the net land degradation is neutral. That is the concept. So, achieving that land degradation neutrality is under this, and improving the livelihood of more than 1.3 billion people. That means if the land is restored, more agriculture can be restored, more productivity, more people can be sustained, and this is how it can improve the livelihood of 1.3 billion people, and it will reduce the impact of drought on vulnerable population. Right now there is drought happening in many areas of India, like the Marathwada region is drought hit, Rayalaseema is drought hit, Telangana plateau is drought hit, Karnataka plateau is drought hit. These are all the semi and arid region of India. So if we find a way to restore or plant more trees and make it a cultivable land, that means this drought, the yearly drought can be avoided to a certain extent. So UNCCD, it works very closely with the other two Rio Summit conventions, that is the UNCBD, that's the Convention on Biological Diversity, and UNFCCC. So they'll all together, they'll approach this possible use of natural resources in the country. Okay, so the governing agency is, as I told you, it's conference of parties. So they implement this convention. It is established by the convention as a supreme decision-making body. Okay, they ratify, they comprises all the ratifying governments. So whoever ratified this particular agreement. So before going to that, what is the major difference between signing an agreement and ratifying an agreement? Basically, signing means you are agreeing to something. Okay, you are agreeing that this can happen and you are signing it. If ratifying the agreement means you have to implement it. So ratification is a much more bigger concept. Okay, so all the ratifying government, they'll come together as a decision-making body. So one of the primary functions of the COP, it is to review the reports submitted by the the parties to the conference. Okay, so the first 5 sessions of COP, it was held annually from 1997 to 2001. Starting 2001, the session is on biennial basis, and that's it. You have to know about it. And one more thing I have to mention here is bone challenge. I told you in the beginning of the session, I'll talk about bone challenge. So bone challenge is basically a global effort to bring 150 million hectares of world's deforested and degraded land. So these have to be restored by 2030. For first 150 million, they should be restored by 2020 and 350 million hectares by 2030. Such a huge plan it is. And at the UNFCCC conference, which happened in Paris, India joined the voluntary bond challenge. It's a voluntary challenge because there is no compulsion, there is no legally binding thing about bond challenge. Okay, so you can voluntarily join it. So India joined in 2015. Okay, and India committed for that, whatever I told you in the beginning, 13 million hectares by 2020 and 8 million hectares by 2030. Okay, so why I explained this with so much of effort is that one thing, climate change, forest degradation, deforestation is like a lightning subject for prelims as well as for GS paper 3. GS paper 3, if you know environment concept very clearly, you can create an edge in GS 3 paper. So these topics cannot be ignored because it will be both benefiting the prelims perspective as well as the mains perspective. That is why I explained this much. Okay. So the next topic is United Nations Department for Economic and Social Affairs. So this is in news because the Indian population is going to cross China's population. So this has been, according to the World Population Prospects 2019. So World Population Prospect 2019, this report is published by UNDISA. UNDISA have a department or a division called as Population Division. They publish this data, this report. So the 2019 revision of World Prospect it is going to be the 26th round of the United Nations population estimates. So they are saying that by 2027, India is going to surpass the China's population. Okay. So UNDISA is it is an interface between the global policy and the national policy or the national action. So the element, the area of concern is economic, social and environmental spheres. So whatever global policies are being taken or the national policies are being taken by a country, both can be collaborated by an interface that interfaces UNDISA. Okay, so it is responsible for follow-up to major United Nations summits and conferences, as well as a service to the ECOSOC. ECOSOC is Economic and Social Council. Okay, and also the UNGA. So it is part of the United Nations Secretariat. UNDISA, they assist the countries around the world in agenda setting and decision making. Okay, so it supports the international cooperation to promote sustainable development, as having as a foundation the 2030 agenda for sustainable development, and it also helps in achieving the 17 SDG goals by whichever date they have been proposing. So it is also a member of United Nations Development Group. Okay. The next topic is International Fund for Agricultural Development. One more thing I have to mention here in the previous topic is that if you are practicing the answer writing for the mains or for the next year's say, so if you add more words like sustainable development, agenda for 2030, UNDISA, so these are the words which you can use to gain extra marks, because otherwise it would be a very general answer. Okay. So next topic is International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD. So this is in news because the International Day of Family Remittances is observed every year all over the world. So on 16th June, so they are under IFAD. Okay, so IFAD, they supports family remittance campaign to allow all the stakeholders to endorse this this day, which represent and their commitment and to showcase their engagement. Okay, so IFAD, our point of concern is, what is IFAD? Okay, IFAD is basically an international financial institution. They are dedicated to eradicate poverty and hunger in rural areas of developing countries. Okay, so they are also a specialized agency of United Nations. They are established as an international financial institution in 1977 through a resolution passed by UNGA. So it is one of the major outcomes of the 1974 World Food Conference. Okay, we have already discussed World Food Conference in the previous sessions. So this is an outcome of the World Food Conference. 75% of the world's poor live in rural area in developing country, yet only 4% of the official development assistance goes to agriculture. So major occupation of the rural people will be agriculture only, but only 4% of the developmental assistance is going to agriculture. So such data like 70% of the world's poor living in the rural area, these are all statistics which can also be included in answer writing. Also you can study this because UPSC have asked many times statistics also in statement based questions. Okay, so its headquarters is in Rome, Italy. So it's a member of United Nations Development Group. The strategy policy is also for enabling the rural poor to overcome poverty. Okay. The next topic is World Food India. So World Food India is to be held in November in New Delhi. That is why it is in news. So World Food India, it is a gathering of global and domestic stakeholders in food processing industry. It's the biggest gathering. And for the year 2019, the ministry is targeting to partner with at least 15 countries and participation from at least 80 countries. Okay. So it will be like the target, the event tagline would be forging a partnership for growth. Okay. So talking about World Food India, it's a biennial event. It has been held by central government to promote food processing sector, obviously. So the event, they created a brand India in the global food map. So, okay, so like they portrayed India as a world food factory. It was for the first time in India that all the policy makers and top industrialists across the globe, they are coming together for food processing industries under one roof. That is the speciality of World Food India. Okay, next is map aided program. So we have the National Parks of Kerala from By this, we will complete the North India and South India, also West and East. Now we are left only with the Northeast part. Okay, that will start tomorrow. So National Park of Kerala, there are 6 major national parks in Kerala. Anamudi Shola National Park, Eravikulam National Park, then Madhikettan Shola, Pampadum Shola, Periyar National Park and Silent Valley National Park. We will see one by one. Anamudi Shola National Park, it is comprised of Manavalan Shola, Adivara Shola and Pulardi Shola. Okay, so this is under the Munnar Wildlife Division. It is also very near to Madhikettan Shola, Erivikulam National Park, Pampadum Shola, Chinnar Wildlife Sanctuary, Kurinnimala Sanctuary. These are all under Munnar Wildlife Divisions. So even if you see the map, you can't see all of this in a single map because it's very closely located. So you can't see everything marked. You will only see Eravikulam National Park in the map. Okay. Next is Eravikulam National Park. Eravikulam National Park has many perennial streams that runs crisscross pattern in the park, and they merge to form the tributary of Periyar River in the west and the Kaveri River in the east. Okay, and Lakom waterfalls is in this region. Then Madhikettan Shola National Park. Okay, the funny fact about Madhikettan Shola National Park is that the name, it is a Tamil word. It means mind confuser. The local people say that when a person get into this forest, they forget how they get into it. So they forgets the path. Okay, so Pampadum Shola National Park is against it is the smallest national park in Kerala or in South India itself. Okay, so the park, it is again it is under the Munnar Wildlife Division. So the park, it has it adjoined with Ali Nagaram Reserved Forest, and also the Palani Hills, the famous Palani Hills Wildlife Sanctuary, it is near to it. Okay. Then we have Periyar National Park. Periyar National Park and Wildlife Sanctuary, it is near to Thekadi. Thekadi is in the Idukki district. It's a conjunction between Idukki, Kottayam and Pathanamthitta in Kerala. So it is a elephant reserve, it is a tiger reserve. You have many endemic species, endangered species there. The park is also called as Thekadi Sanctuary, and it is located in the Cardamom Hills and Pandalam Hills. Okay, Cardamom Hills, I think you are very familiar about because we discussed the South Indian hills, right? So Pandalam Hills is also there. It's a very small hill. But in South India, it's big, but compared to the other hills, the Pandalam Hills is not a very prominent hill. Okay. Silent Valley National Park, it is in Nilgiri Hills. It is the top of Kerala. So the national park, it is one of the last undisturbed tracts of southern western Ghats. Okay, it has a rainforest, tropical moist evergreen forest, and there is a new national park proposed in Kerala, that is Karimbura National Park. So Karimbura National Park will be to the north of this Silent Valley National Park, and there is Mukurthi National Park in Tamil Nadu, which will be the northeast of Silent Valley. Okay, so this comes under the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. I have a map here, but it's not a complete map. As I told you, I have marked Silent Valley, Eravikulam I have marked, Periyar is there. But the thing is, you can't mark Anamudi, Pampadum Shola, Madhikettan Shola. These three comes very closer to Eravikulam. Okay, so I'll go to PQRS. I'll read out the question. Which of the following are the key features of the National Ganga River Basin Authority? River Basin is a unit of planning and management. Correct. It spearheads the river conservation efforts at national level. Correct. One of the chief minister of the states through which the Ganga flows becomes the chairman of the NGBRA on a rotational basis. So, if you read the newspaper daily, you will be able to answer this question, because everybody know the Prime Minister is the the authority or the chairman of this authority, and other members are the cabinet ministers of the ministries, and also the chief ministers are also there. They are from the states through which the Ganga flows, which is basically Uttarakhand, UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal. Okay, the major rivers, major states like that. So the third statement is wrong, it is not correct. So the answer would be 1 and 2, that's A. Okay. I hope you understood the session, you enjoyed it. That's all for today. So have a nice day. Thank you.